It's now time.
I'm so excited.
Oh no! I do love you, but
Oh, it's alright. I gotta go. I got something to do. Not as exciting as this. I'll tell you that right now, but.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Survivor Now podcast. And got something for you. Wait a minute. I know I'm on my own, but that's because we have a very special guest. Phil can't make it tonight, so I needed someone to come fill in for me. So,
What an entrance. I feel very special. Did Kelly Wentworth even get that treatment?
No. No, she didn't. So there you go.
Oh, well, I'm happy to be back with you.
It's very exciting to be back. I mean, there we go. We've already got Roy in the comments. Matthew, great to see you again. Yeah. Obviously, you have not been here this entire season, but you know that me and Phil have missed you dearly. So first things first, how have you been? How's life?
Oh, I've been stressed. Life is life, but I am, it is what it is, and I had a lot of stuff outside of, hi, Rob, outside of Survivor that just needed tending to. And so I'm happy to be back. And you know what? I had such a great experience with Australia versus the world. And I appreciate all of everyone in the chat, all of your support. I have checked in a couple of times, forgot something for you throughout the season. I know Amy sent a really lovely message, which made me very happy to see. So thank you. And to everyone else who checked in on me. But yeah, I just felt like after Australia versus the world and after wrapping that up, it was just time to take a breath.
Yeah. And you know what? We all need that. Who knows? I might do it for 50. We never know.
Imagine.
I know, imagine. But obviously, first and first, how have you been enjoying this season? What have your initial thoughts been on the season overall?
I haven't been enjoying the season. I think that I finally have been able to articulate what I sort of feel like the 41 through 49 has sort of felt like to me, which is just kind of mushy. And that's nothing to do with some people might argue against this, but I really don't think it has to do with the casting. I've sort of come to that conclusion around this time, and thanks to the help of other people putting it into words as well. But it does feel like the storytelling has not changed or adapted since 41. These seasons all feel the same. And I just feel like when we think back on these 9 seasons, and we'll see about 50, I'm a little nervous about 50. But I just feel like instead of being able to do what we've all done, which is like, oh, that took place during Samoa, that took place during Heroes versus Villains, that took place during Tocantins. I just feel like we're not going to be able to distinguish these seasons.
Agreed. I mean, you mentioned Kelly Wentworth. That was a load. Like me and Kelly kept talking about that, just because it did just seem like we couldn't distinguish each season, and part of it is because it's just Survivor 41, Survivor 42, Survivor 43. I do feel like that does play a big part in it. But like you said, just like everything has been mushed together, and I'm sat here half the time going, not a clue what's going on. But I mean, Roy does agree with you as well. It's time for a change. Can't wait for 51 and the new era.
There we go.
Honestly, I hope so. But obviously, we have got episode 11 to talk about. Initial thoughts. What did you think of that episode without going into obviously all the details?
I mean, I do think that post-merge has overall been better. I think the pacing has been better. I am of the mind, I know that there are some people out there who have a right to think this way, but I just don't feel like with television, especially if it's a weekly release, I just feel like there's no room to make the audience wait for something more to come. So I do put a lot of responsibility on the storytellers here, on the producers, for why the beginning just felt so slow. And thankfully, I think things really, unfortunately, I loved MC. And unfortunately, that episode, I think, is when things started getting interesting because of that vote flip. But, it was so unfortunate but I think we saw some really good gameplay, especially in these last few episodes.
Yeah, I agree. I think like it's kind of the complete opposite of like 48. Like the pre-merge was like for 48 was really great, and then it kind of slipped a bit during the merge. And this season, it's like all of us were kind of there pre-merge going, well, what is going on? What is this show? And even I was there like struggling. I was like, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to get through this. And then this post-merge, like you've said, kind of the Nate in the MC vote, like it has gotten so much better. Obviously, we are talking about episode 11. So let's dive right into it with this first scene. I'm going to get the right thing for this, which is obviously the fallout of Tribal, which was the lovely Sophie S. I say lovely, I've not been her biggest fan this entire season. But what I will give her credit for, she did do a decent job, I think, in this situation when it came to the damage control with Steven and Christina. Matthew, what did you think of this scene and this moment with the damage control?
Yeah, she had to stand her ground when it came to the decision that she made at the last tribal council. She did fine. I was more so team frustration, in this situation, and frustration for the people that the move sort of threw onto the bottom. She did what she had to do, and I'm glad that she didn't try to gaslight essentially, and say no, this was whatever. It was fine. It was fine. I liked seeing the raw emotions, especially from Sage.
Well, let's get into that because the next one is Sage, and I love that I found this photo because I do feel like this is where things unraveled. I thought her damage control with Steven and Christina was good. This, however, I was like, ooh, I wasn't sure on it. Because again, she said the one thing that I think is never going to go down well. I'm not going to apologize for the game move I did. No matter what, I was kind of like, ooh, because not in the sense of it's a bad thing. Because again, split game and emotions, absolutely fine. But it comes across slightly heartless. And I think she then needed to explain herself, and I don't think she did. What did you think?
I understand where she came from when she said that I'm not going to apologize. And I don't think you should have to apologize for a game move. It's just about owning it. I do feel that the mistake, Sage was never going to be happy, and when no matter what Sophie said here. What do we call? Is she Soph or Sophie? I forget.
I'm calling her Sophie B. And that one's Sophie S. I'm not calling her Soph. I refuse to.
So Sophie S, Sophie S, there was nothing that she could say that was going to win Sage back. And that's something that she was just going to have to be okay with when doing that move. Yeah.
Agreed. I mean, Roy puts a good comment in here going, this was where Sage began her downfall. And then Gemini asks a very good question of, obviously, she did get voted out. So could Sophie S have done anything different to save herself? And we can kind of do it in the context of this moment.
No, I think she was always going to get voted out. It seemed like she was on people's radars even before this. She just kept winning immunity. And unfortunately, I just don't think that people wanted to play the game with her. And people who did want to take her a little bit further, even if they didn't want to take her to the end, they just got burned by her last week. So, it's what it is.
It is what it is. But obviously, there is another Sophie in this game, and that is Sophie B, who this is where we start to see her kind of want to open up her game a bit more, be a bit more fluid, but in the sense of she wants to distance herself from Savannah and Rizzo, and she talks about taking the shot. She wants to go ahead and get rid of either Savannah or Rizzo when the time is right. And I think this is because all of the previews and the promos, it was always talking about like, oh yeah, I want to take a shot at Savannah and Rizzo. I want to go after Savannah and Rizzo. And I think me and Tori both said this on the pre-show. We think it's going to be she wants to take a shot when the time is right. exactly what she said.
Yeah, what is
Um,
the right time? You know, like
Yeah.
it's so odd to me because people will do this, right? We've seen this multiple times as I was talking about the very similar storytelling where we get to a point where someone in the majority is like, I may have to take my shot soon, you know? And it's just like, all right, it's up to the show to make that a compelling storyline that we, you know, the
Yeah.
audience wants to see this person or doesn't want to see this person do it, but I just don't have any strong feelings about it.
Yeah. Well, obviously, the person she kind of speaks to on this is Sage. Like, her and Sage
Right.
have the conversation. And I will say how Sophie B handled her talk with Sage probably a little bit better than Sophie S handled her conversation with Sage, in the sense of like, when she wanted to have this game talk, she kind of waited till the next day when it was like the initial emotions were gone. But what did you think about this kind of initial conversation with Sage? Because obviously she did make it very clear that there is a point in time she does want to go after Savannah or Rizzo.
I mean, it's just words, you know? And I'm glad that Sage was sort of like, I forget which one of them acknowledged, but like, you got to show that you're trustworthy to an extent. And just by just saying, you know, eventually I'm going to have to turn on them.
Yeah.
I kind of think it's like a little bit of a selfish thing when someone's like, eventually I'm going to have to turn on these
Mhm.
people. Because if like, Ollie, if you're saying that to me and you're like, eventually I'm going to have to turn on this person, I'm like, "Oh, okay. Like, I'm like, all right, well, that's going to be your, I hate to bring up the resume, but like, that's going to be your thing.
Yeah.
So it kind of just, I don't see it as like a benefit to the person it's being said to.
Yeah. I mean, perfect example is Albert from South Pacific. Constantly, I want to make a move. I want to do this when the timing's right. Got to the end and everyone went, when are you going to make the move, mate?
Where's
Because
the move?
the two people you wanted to get out or wanted to make a move against, you're sitting right next to, zero right finalist. What I do think was good from Sophie B, and it was a little kind of nuanced thing that I noticed in the conversation. She was like, obviously, she had openly said, like, I want to go for Savannah and Rizzo. And I think one of the actions she may have taken quite subtly was going to Sage and basically being like, I've told you this, and you now have the potential to blow up. Like, she acknowledged the fact that Sage now potentially has ammo to go to Savannah and Rizzo and say, hey, Sophie B said your name. She's thrown your name out. And like she fully acknowledged that with Sage, which I think was good in terms of her conversation with Sage. Because I think that is something like with Sage, if you are kind of, if that's how you speak to her, I think she really resonates that.
Yeah, it was good of her to be like, here's exactly how you can get me in trouble, you know? And I think that in a moment where all you have is your word, it is a good way to sort of acknowledge that this is an exchange of trust in a way. Even if she's lying, she's still giving Sage the words, right? She's still giving Sage the ammunition.
Yeah. And I think that's where I kind of at least think that Sophie B did a good job, because it's, even though I think, like you said, actions speak louder than words, I think she knew that in that moment she could only say her words. So she was like, what words can I give that can benefit this relationship for showing, even if it's like a metaphorical action?
Mhm.
And I think that's what it was. And I think that's what I appreciated with it. Any more thoughts before we move on? Well, let's talk about this, because the boat comes and it's time for a journey.
A strenuous journey.
A strenuous journey. I have to ask Matthew, when you heard the word strenuous, were you sat there being like, no matter what, I'm not going on that?
No, I didn't understand. Everyone was so afraid of that word, you know? And I just feel like if you're going on a journey, it's going to be strenuous, regardless. It's going to be tough, whether it's mental or physical. I mean, I think they gave them a pretty decent clue that it was going to be a physical type of one here. I was really surprised by how many people said they did not want to go. I was like, really? Like, we're just going to make it this easy for who? I know it was Steven who went, but who did it end up, like, the two, who had to decide? It was Steven
So
and
it was Stephen and I think it was Sage, because I think Sage was 50-50. It was Sage or Sophie B. They were kind of 50-50. And they even gave the ammo to Stephen saying, if you're 100%, it's all yours. And Stephen went, well, yeah, I'm 100%.
this was bizarre to me.
Yeah.
If I was not on Steven's side, I would be, I don't care. I don't care what I have to do. I don't, I mean, I would care if I had to lose my vote, but like, if there's an advantage or a chance of getting an advantage, I don't want my opposition to get that. No, not at all.
Yeah. And I know this is going to sound so harsh saying this, but then I will explain.
Hmm?
Sophie S, Sophie B, Rizzo, and Savannah, it was a dumb, stupid decision.
Whoa.
For letting, but in the sense of, only because you look at the confessionals and you look at them all going, we want Stephen out. Stephen's our biggest target. And they want Stephen out, but then they've given Stephen this chance to go, hey, there's this chance for an advantage. And most likely, because we all know Survivor, they're gonna want them to at least have a decent chance of getting this advantage. So it was just one of those, he's potentially going to come back with an advantage. And then obviously I'm going to mention it more later on. But when he does come back and says that he's got the advantage and they're all there going, oh my God. And I'm like, you had the option.
You did it to yourself.
Chance. Yeah. And I think Roy actually, made a great comment here. Savannah, Rizzo, and Sophie B just felt too comfortable here to care.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm also like, if all of you end up saying no, I feel like at least one of them, I feel like at least one person in a group like this would circle back and be like, okay, if no one wants to go, like one of us has to go. Like, I think maybe they were just relying, the Gemini type has a good, I think, insight, maybe. Like, it could be because they knew they wanted to vote out Sophie and just didn't want her to get an advantage. Yes. And I also feel like they shouldn't want anyone that's not in their media group to get an advantage. I do wonder, that's a great question. If Sophie S had been more vocal about wanting to go, maybe they would have raised a hand.
That's the thing. It was Sophie S. She was the first person in the confessionals to say, I'm not doing it. I heard strenuous and I said nope. I will give Savannah credit in the sense of, I remember in one of her confessionals, she did kind of state I do feel like we've made a bit of an error not pushing back and letting Stephen, who is our main target, go, because at this moment they were still very much Stephen is the main target. I don't think at this point Rizzo or Savannah had mentioned proper going for Sophie. Yeah. I think so that's why I was still no.
I don't know. And wait, is Stephen that much of a threat?
Yeah, because he's on my draft.
Oh, sure. Boo.
No, absolutely not. But before
is he your last player?
Yeah.
Oh, rough.
I know. But also, just Brian's in the chat. I just want to say
hi, Brian.
Stop and say hi. You might not see me at the finale. You might see Matthew though.
Maybe. I still have to figure out if I'm going. But yes, I want to see you too if I'm there.
I won't be there.
I'm sorry, Brian. I'm sorry. I just needed to know.
Brian gets it. He is a threat.
I just needed to know. I've missed some things. Okay.
But obviously, before we get to the journey, they were all back at camp going, oh, why did we let Stephen go? And then this is where Sophie Squared sit there and go, right, let's just start talking about a backup plan. Which again, I think is smart because they are kind of thinking a couple of steps ahead going, right, if for some bizarre reason this benefits Stephen this round, what are we thinking? And ultimately, obviously, they land on Savannah. They say that Savannah is the person they want to go for. What did you think of this conversation?
I said, okay, I'll see it when I see it. This, I think this scene was just in here to be a red herring. That's it.
I think not necessarily, because out of them, I think Sophie B was doing more of the like, this is where I feel like we need to go. And because I feel like she was the first person to say Savannah's name in chat. Tell me if I'm wrong. My brain goes to it. I think Sophie B was the one to say Savannah's name. But when we go forward, it wasn't necessarily Sophie B pushing anything. And that's where that's where I want to leave that. And then when we get to the pre-tribal, it's what I find interesting. But
yeah, but Savannah didn't go home. So
no, very true. But hopefully it all ties in. But obviously, we do get to the journey where Stephen has to run around this entire bloody island trying to remember 6 numbers in time to smash this pot and get the advantage. First and foremost, if you went up to the podium and read this and heard this is what you were doing, what are your first thoughts?
I would have loved this. This would be right up my alley personally. It's one of those things that it feels doable in my mind, right? Like I feel like I know how I would be able to get this done, even if it's hard. I know where the finish line is. I do feel like if I got that one journey that was like put the seasons in order, that's not for me. That's not my challenge. Yeah, there you go. But this one I actually really enjoyed, and I thought it was fun.
Yeah, same. I really did. If I was in this, I'd be like, I've just got to run and remember 6 numbers. Fabulous. I'm like, great. I can remember 6 numbers. I can just turn them into 3 numbers. Sorted.
And it didn't seem like the tide rose that fast.
No, I saw that and I was like, clearly he could have gone round at least like twice.
One more time.
Like 3 times and still been safe. I'm interested because Roy thought it was a rough challenge.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I guess some could say it was strenuous.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it is tough, right? You are like running around an island. There's different. I'm surprised he went all around those rocks. Like that was pretty cool. I just think, Ollie, do you think you would have made it over those rocks? Great question.
I'm 6'3". Of course, I was making it over those rocks.
Yeah, Ollie would have.
I think out of everyone on the podcast, I would have been the most easiest one to go. I would have been stepping. Everyone else would have been jumping.
Hey, I'm right up there with you. And we get Will from Stockwatch also.
Actually, yeah, us 3 would be fine. Cara, bless her.
Oh, no.
Be like a ledge jump.
You know what? I would want to live out my Lara Croft fantasy, right? Like, and just running around the island, finding things. It's cool. It's fun. And I do think, going back to my point about Steven, I know he won immunity last season, but based on last episode, but based on the edit, I was just really surprised that during this episode, everyone was so like, he's a threat to win. But now, after this episode, getting the advantage and then getting the immunity challenge, which we'll get to, like, I can absolutely see it, right? It was just the beforehand.
Yeah. I mean, he had been in a comfortable position. And again, this is where we'd seen him dip. And he was like, I have to do this. But he does make it around the island. He remembers the numbers. Do you remember the numbers, Matthew?
I played along. I did play along while it was 18.
Yeah.
43.
Yeah.
25.
Well done. 18, 43, 25.
Yeah. I watched.
Chat, remind me, I swear I saw somewhere that these were the exact same numbers that Jake from 45 had to remember. I've seen this discourse online and I hadn't properly looked into it, but it was mainly because no one from the 49 cast talked about it, so I couldn't actually properly get in depth. But allegedly.
Yeah.
Also, Isabel is back in the chat.
Hi, Isabel.
Talking about Stephen going, I think he is a threat. He is so likable, and all he and outside of Sophie would vote for him.
That's awesome. That's a good point.
Yeah, I definitely think I would agree with that. I think he's made some really solid connections, but he gets a blocker vote. And he does get to keep his vote. I'm saying this right now. If he had lost his vote at Final 7, I would be on this podcast being blacklisted by Survivor CBS because I would be saying naughty words. But yeah, he gets a blocker vote. What do you think about a blocker vote at this time in the game?
Sure, why not? I don't know. Like, I think, when is he allowed to last use it? Is it at the same time you're allowed to use an idol?
I think it's 6, yeah. So literally, he's only got it for this round and next round,
Okay.
basically.
I mean, every single vote counts. And
Yeah.
I think it would have been a little too boring if it was just an extra vote. And I think that a steal a vote is maybe just like a little too powerful. So maybe this is a good one. We'll see how it plays out. But again, we all know knowledge is power is still in effect. And, this might be taken away.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm with you that I would have, whenever I hear a castaway read, you may lose your vote, I get like a little like, I don't know. It just it doesn't feel good.
I will say it was a volunteer one. So obviously he volunteered to go on the journey and there was a risk. That I can get the common sense, I can get the logic. Obviously, I think they have learned from 48 or whenever it was, when it was these people are forced to go and have a chance to lose their vote. I'd have sat there and been like swearing.
Yeah.
But I can confirm it is fine until final 6. I just
Thank you. And Isabel has a very interesting point, which he has to play this before going to tribal council, so Sophie can't steal it. But I'm so surprised that Sophie mentions it in the edit of the episode. Right?
Because it's a weird one, because even when I thought about it, I went, I know with the knowledge is power, you can't just say, I know you have an advantage, can I have it? I think she has to specify the advantage, because it's like, well, let's talk about it, because obviously because I think it kind of goes into the next thing, because he comes back, oh no, it's chickens. Do we need to talk about chickens?
I want them to stop with the chickens on this show.
There you go then. So we're not going to talk about this scene. Stephen comes back and obviously tells them that he didn't lose his vote and he got an advantage, but didn't specify what advantage. He didn't say that he had what he had. But like Roy Jolly says, no one knows for sure what it is. They think it's a stealer vote. Well, not they, Rizzo.
Mm-hmm.
Rizzo, who thinks he knows everything, knows that it's a stealer vote. And I think this is where it's going to get complicated, because I know that he had spoken to I know Rizzo, I think it was either the scene prior or the scene after, he speaks to Sophie B and says, I think it's a stealer vote. And technically, if Sophie B was to go to Stephen and go, hey, I'd like your stealer vote, please. Well, technically, you've asked him for an advantage he doesn't have.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Stephen would be like, "You're more than happy to take a stealer vote if I had one," because that's what I'd sit there. I'd be like, technically, you haven't asked for the right advantage. So,
yeah, that's a good point. I think that that left a lot of room for error. They did have to know if this was how it was going to play out. If production allowed it, they would have had to known what exactly he was holding on to. So, but I was a little impressed by Rizzo. I don't think Rizzo's a bad player. And I was impressed that I saw that smirk, Ollie. I was impressed that he was able to identify, he wasn't able to identify it was a block vote, but the fact that this power could take someone's vote away from them.
Yeah. I will give him that credit. I think he is a great person. No. I think the editors are doing a very wonderful job here, and I'll explain more of that later. But when it comes to Rizzo, because again, it was just when he was saying in the confessional, I know it just felt very confident for me, and I was like, look, I could be the most confident person in the room. I'm still going to have doubt because it's Survivor, because you never truly know unless it's you. I've lost my train of thought. But
what did they say? What did Christina say at Tribal Council in regards to Savannah? Your strong dislike of Rizzo is
that part. But yeah, no, I do agree. I think the fact that Rizzo is kind of logically gone, this is what it could be, I think is really great. And it does actually show like his super fan knowledge. Because we know he's a super fan. And I think him openly kind of going to Stephen and being like, right, let's see what we can do here. I think that is good because you want protection. I do think this is where I was kind of a bit like, because it can come across like you are just protecting you, like, because he's done two things which is really weird. He wants to protect his allies, but then in this moment it comes across like I'm keeping myself safe. And I think it's one of those, it's something that could happen that hypothetically, if he gets to the end and he goes, I was a loyal player, I never wanted to go against my allies. And Stephen's on the jury and goes, well, actually, when you thought I had a steal a vote, you were doing everything in your power to make sure that it wasn't you that got screwed over. You didn't care about Sophie or Savannah in that moment. And I think that's where I'm a little bit like worried for Rizzo, because I do think he is tangling his web and I think he's not keeping track of things. And I think that's where I worry with Roy Jolly. I hope not. I hope not.
Yeah, me too. I like Steven.
Yeah.
I didn't care too much. Right? Like I don't know. I don't care. Like I don't think I'm not sure that would be Rizzo's pitch if he makes it to final three. I mean, it could be, but I'm sure that there are so many of these type of conversations that we haven't seen from everyone where someone's saying they've played an honest and loyal game, whatever. No one has. No one ever has.
Wow, unless you're coach. But that's another story. Obviously, we have the immunity challenge. I'm not gonna lie, I specifically did not put a photo up of the the part before the challenge where it was try and imitate me, and I was like, no.
Thank you.
Jeffrey, no. But what did you think of this immunity challenge? Because it was kind of a little twist of it.
Ooh.
And correct me if I'm wrong, we've seen this on Australian Survivor, haven't we?
Yeah, I definitely, if it wasn't this exact setup, I definitely recall some sort of spinning balance thing. I do think the question of like, is this easier? I think it's harder. I think each one is difficult in their own ways.
Yeah.
I personally believe that I would have an easier time with this challenge, as I think I would have way more control. As someone who has tried the rope and the leaning platform thing, that is actually much harder to control than I ever imagined. So this one seems like you have a bit more control over how fast you go and over how fast it spins.
I still enjoyed this challenge, and it's like I did see a lot of discourse of people being like, "Oh, they just made this so easy now." Da 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 da, and I'm like, but like you said, obviously, like not necessarily, because obviously, like yes, in a way, it could have made it easier, but also there is still that element of speed.
We needed to change things up. That's where that's my camp here.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely feel like there needs to be a bit of a switch up, because again, we're going to do Survivor 50, and this sounds really ironic. Survivor 50, put some classics in there. Put some things from all, because again, celebration of Survivor, celebrate the challenges that we've seen. Don't just put 20 new things. Sorry, me and 50 have a very complicated relationship. But no, I personally liked this just because it was one of those things where speed really was a factor in this. And it wasn't like, because I think at the end we saw how much Steven's like tower was leaning. So I was like, you never know. I was like, everyone could be a little bit too cool, like too gleeful, and everyone tumbles. But obviously that didn't happen. And in the end, Steven won. So congratulations, Steven. You're safe and got to final 6. Were you happy with Steven winning?
Do they always make them wear the head wraps, the headbands?
Yeah. Most times, I believe. I don't know if they do it. Not all the time. This particular one they did.
I don't know why it stuck out to me so much in this particular episode where I was like, oh, they're all wearing their color. Anyway, so fine. It was good. It's Steven's episode, really.
Yeah. well, not according to all podcasters. Some podcasters thought it was someone else's episode, but for the most part, everyone thought it was Stephen's episode.
Ooh.
I'm not getting cancelled. I'm not being mean. But let's take just a quick break. We're just gonna quickly. I just need to run and grab some more juice. But then after this, we are going to talk about the pre-tribal and obviously the tribal, and then get into the social media things. So let's hear from our patron. Why not?
Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. No, not them. I'm talking straight to you. Are you interested in even more Survivor content? Make sure to check out Survivor Now's Patreon page. We've got some incredible stuff going on over there, like an exclusive interview with the Dragon Slayer, Coach. Can you believe it? As well as many seasons that we revisit, so much bonus content, and there's 2 tiers to choose from. Either be a faithful member for $3 a month, or be a legend for $5 a month. There's also a 1-week free trial for the Legend tier if you're interested. So what are you waiting for? Go to the link in the description below and join our Patreon today. I better see you there. All right, let's go back to the show.
Right, let's move on to the pre-tribal, because obviously not only did Stephen win immunity, but he did win reward, and he took Christina and Rizzo. Thoughts and feelings first about him taking Christina and Rizzo?
No thoughts or feelings.
That's fair. I mean, sorry, I just need to put that up and quickly get rid of it. And that Zan's in the chat. I thought it was the voice of a Survivor God. No, it was just, I believe, Randy. And Roy saying it.
I agree. I think this made sense, and I think that Stephen outlined very well why he made the choices that he did. And you know, I don't think there was anything that was super significant with these choices, but it's fine. You know, it's good.
Yeah, the one thing, obviously, they're having the conversation, they're having the talk, and from the editing standpoint, it looks as though Rizzo is dominating the conversation and pushing the target on to Sophie S. He's the one saying, I'm really convincing Stephen and Christina here. And this is where I kind of said earlier on, where I was like, I feel like the editors are helping him out. Because technically, the first person this episode we ever heard say, I want Sophie S out, was Sage. So, to me, this wasn't really Rizzo pushing his agenda as much as there are people with a common enemy and they're aligning. Because I do still feel like in this moment, Stephen and Christina were both very much like, if it's Sophie, it's Sophie. And I know Christina was a little bit like, I'm just yes-anding him at the moment. She did still kind of want to consider Savannah. So yeah, that was the only kind of big merit I had to this conversation. Do you have anything else to add before we move on?
No, not really. Just because I don't even really remember this conversation, to be honest.
That's fine. Well, let's move on to this one, because obviously this is where they're back at camp. And Sophie S is the first one to push, hey, since we can't get Stephen, let's get Savannah. And this is where I thought things were interesting. Was it this comment that you were laughing at?
Yes. Yeah, it's true, you know? And I think that's something that Sophie S did not account for when it came to working with or against Sage.
Yeah, completely. But this is where I thought, remember where I said, because it was Sophie B that really pushed Savannah's name first to Sophie S. Well, who was staying quiet during this entire thing, or kind of just yes-anding? It was Sophie B. Sophie B was the one that was quiet, even though she had kind of put the bug in Sophie S's ear to be like, let's go for Savannah. She kind of got Sophie S to do that for her. regardless of whether or not Sophie B was going to go ahead with it. But I did feel like, also sorry, I've just seen Zan's things. That scene with Rizzo sounded. He's got a name for it though. Where good things happen.
That's a really good podcast name. I keep that to yourself until you start your own. It's really good.
Great for a podcast, not for the sanctuary. But yeah, obviously in this moment, Sophie S is really pushing for Savannah, and she believes that she can obviously get Sophie B and Sage with Steven and Christina on side. But not if Sage has anything to do about it, as we've seen with this comment. I've seen so many people online saying, oh, Sage was petty, Sage was emotional. What are your thoughts on obviously this? Because after this, it is very much Sage gets Savannah back. When Savannah comes back and Sophie S goes, she kind of does bring the girls together and go, let's just go for Sophie S. What did you think of all this?
I mean, it is tit for tat, you know,
Yeah.
like let's not, it was very that, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, how do you even move forward with Sophie S?
Yeah.
You know, she's saying that she wants to get out Savannah now. That's all fine and dandy, but you could have done that last tribal council and you chose not to. So that, I don't care how much she has said that the move was right for her.
Mm-hmm.
You've burned that bridge with Sage.
Yeah.
So I think that, was this another missed opportunity to target Savannah, Sophie B, and Rizzo? Yes. Could she continue moving forward with Sophie S? No.
No. And because again, I started this comment from Roy saying, on Survivor, you have to do a better job at hiding your emotions. Sage let her rage fly. And I mean, we have seen players who are emotional make it really far and make some amazing moves. Carolyn is the perfect example, obviously, from Survivor 44. I do feel like with Sage, I feel like, yes, there may have been emotions to play into it, but I think, like you said, Sage had no reason to trust Sophie after this. Because Sophie was the one that really had burned her. Sophie was the one that had gone against her. Yes, it was a missed opportunity to get like one of the trio out. But I think in the same breath, people are going, oh, Sage was petty, Sage was this, Sage was emotional. I'm sorry, but Sophie S was just as emotional pre-merge and kind of going into the merge when she didn't feel like people were on her side, when people weren't giving her a chance. She wanted to be petty as well. And she was petty in the sense of as soon as Sophie, Savannah, and Rizzo gave her a chance, she was like, yeah, screw them lot. And so that's why I kind of give Sage that grace and kind of go, we've seen this in this season. We've seen people kind of be petty before. So it's like, why isn't Sage allowed to be petty? That's my kind of take on it.
Well, I think also something that's going on is I think that just watching these episodes come out week to week, we've had hold on. I think what we've seen in these past couple of weeks has been tribal councils that the general audience or a large number of the audience feels that a plan to target Rizzo, Savannah, and Sophie B has always been interrupted by something. And I think that frustration is also what people are pointing here at Sage for doing this move, because it's yet another interruption to targeting this group.
Yeah, and I think I can get I can see that and I can understand that absolutely. I think it's one of those complicated things at the end of the day, because, and it's so funny to me because everyone's like, "Oh, go for one of those lot," and I was like, I mean, Roy just said it. Sage interrupted it here. She was blinded, absolutely. But in the same breath, Sage has tried for the last 3 times to try and get it done, and someone else has blinded it or someone else has interrupted it. And I think it might have just been the case of she's gotten so annoyed with it that she's like, do you know what? I'm going to do this now, and hopefully that can change afterwards. I do just want to pull out some other things. Zan says Sage was showing she can play a dynamic game and adapt on a dime when it's called for. Obviously, emotions were a smoke screen. Isabel also says, I don't think she realized, and this is Sophie S, how much Juwan meant to Sage. And that first convo after Tribal, Sophie did a horrible job at calming her down. I completely agree. Gemini's also said Sage kept saying she wanted revenge for Juwan. So I think that's where all the emotional talk comes from, which I get.
To Zan's point, that's narrative too.
Yeah.
I mean, there is obviously like strategy reason also that is there, but I think the narrative of this was revenge.
Yeah. Which is, again, we've seen many a vote before be a revenge vote. So
yes, many.
many. We need to remember that, people. But obviously we move on to, obviously, Rizzo quickly comes back and he wants to birds and a sword, birds and something. Just kill two birds with one stone. That's what he wants.
Poor guy was mixing up two different phrases.
Mixing up his words terribly. But then again, I wanted to bring this in because, again, he came back, went straight to Sophie B, and it was, everyone's kind of set on Sophie S. And he hadn't spoken to Sage at that point. It was Sophie B that went, Sage is full on going for Sophie. And he was there going, yeah, my plan's going perfect, da-da-da. And I think, again, it's not your plan, mate. It's a lot of people with the same objective. People aligning and seeing that they've got a common goal that they want to do. Also, Chimera, who is new to the chat, hi, Chimera, says, was Juwan really a threat to Sophie's game, or did she overthink it? I don't know. I mean, actually, no. Juwan was a really good player at that point. He was in such an incredible position, so he could have been.
He's a great player, and I would like to see him play again. When it comes to Sophie S, I just don't think it was the right time, and I don't know. Like, that vote was strange to me.
Yeah. Oh god, absolutely. But obviously, finally, we have the last thing before Tribal was Sophie and Sage talking. And it was, Sage was very much, I am just going to put on the show for Sophie so she feels comfortable, so she feels it. And I mean, I'm going to give Sage her credit. She did an incredible job at blinding Sophie S, making her feel really like no matter what, like she's got Sage on side. So, and again, this is where her emotions played right into Sage's hand.
Sage has been very good when it comes to these types of conversations.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like, even though people were like, oh, Sage is emotional, like, it's benefited her every single time. It's worked like you said, it's worked into her favor every single time. Regardless of how it may have started, the end result has, for the most part, been something that's benefited Sage. So we stan. Right, we're now going to Tribal. Before we get to Tribal, though, we have the jury. And since I knew you were coming on, obviously just a quick spark or snuff. How are we feeling about the jury's looks?
Spark, especially the back row.
Yeah. Oh, MC and Juwan.
I love the turtleneck in Fiji. Are you kidding me?
Go for it. Honestly, I loved it. Because I think looking at Juwan's fashion this season, I'm like, he had some good freaking outfits. Like, it's safe to say there is some contenders for who we want on Sparkle Snuff for 50. Juwan is a contender. I think I would say Sophie B is another contender. But yeah, like the turtleneck, I love it, and just that color as well. I was like, oh. And yeah, MC
and it fits so well.
It does. It fits really well. But obviously, we have Tribal Council. Any significant moments you want to talk about?
What did I really miss between Savannah and Christina? What's going on?
This was hilarious. I mean, obviously, from my memory, the main events happened last episode, where it was Christina was like, "Whoa, Savannah's intense." Savannah's like proper, just trying to like figure it out, and it threw Christina off, and then this episode it's kind of just been like, I'm not the biggest fan of of Savannah. Do I think this was slightly played up though? Yes. This felt slightly played up.
I mean, when someone catches themselves saying the word hate and then try to transition it into something else and all they can land on is strongly dislike, it's not that hard to play it up anymore.
Yeah. To be fair, I think all of our reactions was Sophie S. Sophie S, like that. I've been ducking for cover. I've been like, I don't want to be hit by a stray. Yeah, this was just so funny, but in the most awkward way possible.
It was so awkward. I mean, if what the Gemini type is saying is true, that one of them posted that it was staged, I mean, props to them for making fun television. Get that screen time. Why not?
Yeah. Absolutely. And then, Isabel says it's the best subplot of the season because Christina just doesn't like her. Literally, it was because I think it even threw Jeff off. And like, that's what I found hilarious. Because like, Jeff was fully like, how do I handle this?
Yeah.
And like, I love seeing that just because in the sense of Jeff has been doing this for like 50 seasons now. And he's seen quite a lot of stuff. We know that he can deal with a lot of stuff now where it doesn't become robotic, but he just naturally knows how to figure it out. Perfect example was last episode when Christina was kind of just like, I want my mum, I'm thinking it this way, and he goes, what would your mum would say? And he was able to easily kind of convince her to stay in, like, to get her head back in the game without having to do much. But this moment, he was there like,
well, I just think it was so out of character for who he believes he knows the two of these people to be. So, he spends a lot of time, we all have heard through the casting process, like Jeff, when you get to a specific point, like you spend a lot of time with Jeff apparently. And then to see the character development on the island, like I think that this just caught him by surprise based on the narrative that he could see.
Which, if it threw him, great, because it was an enjoyable thing to see. Because again, you don't normally see Jeff kind of thrown off like that or like taken by surprise. So I appreciated that. So well done Christina and Savannah for it because it was great. It was great to see. But yeah, any final few things before we get to the vote and everything? No. It was kind of just like they talked a little bit about Juwan. I think it was obviously they talked about Stephen's advantage and what would be happening. But in the end, no advantages came out. Rizzo kept his idol for the 25th Tribal Council. And unfortunately, it was Sophie S. that went. Matthew, any final words for our latest fallen player?
Good job, Sophie S. Again, nothing to do with Sophie S. the person. I just this season I've just sort of fallen off from a little bit. She did well, like in the challenges and things like that. And yeah, good job. Good job.
Good job is what you say. Yeah, I mean, it's no secret I have not been the biggest Sophie S player fan. I remember halfway through the season, I was like, I want Sophie S content. And then I got Sophie S content and I was like, never mind. But what I can't deny is she was a great physical player. She killed it in those challenges.
I will say I was on her side when it came to the fruit reward or whatever. Like,
yes.
I know they tried to vilify her in that moment. Yeah. No. I was with her.
I did get that because I was very much like, I was like, no, I agree with you. Just don't say it out loud. So there were moments I was like, I can agree with Sophie S. But like you said, this is all Sophie S the player. If I ever meet her in real life, blank slate, do not care. Like if she's inviting, if she gives me a hug, I give her a hug. If we chat and we are having a good time, we're having a good time, and that's all I remember.
Yeah, I met her. She's lovely.
There you go. but the main thing is Sophie B now gets her name back.
Wait, can we talk about that? Some of the votes just said Sophie, and I don't know. Like, I'm sure they tell the producers like who it's supposed to be like meant, but from a viewer's perspective, it just looks like Jeff is just like, well, that's another for her. You know, I don't know what.
Oh well, no, because obviously, like Jeffrey has been saying Soph or Sophie. So I think he knew that if people had put Soph, it was Sophie, or if they didn't put Sophie B.
I'm sure they had a few more. I'm sure they had a few more rules because I think was
Yeah.
it Cambodia? There were 2 Kellys, and I think that there was some sort of. For some reason, I feel like that there was some sort of not in the episode, but we've heard from doing our coverage that there was some sort of like a rule in case both went to tribal councils.
If you want to know that, you can go catch Got Something For You when I was on with Kelly Wentworth, because she did, funny enough, talk about this. We did have this conversation.
There you go.
And actually, funny enough, I do think it is a reel. So if you click on Survivor Now Podcast, subscribe, go to our shorts, and I think it's the Great Soph versus Sophie debate. There is a short there, and we talk about it there. So there is what you do, and it gets us views.
I would refuse if there was another Matthew on my season of Survivor, and he was like, "I'm Matthew. That one's Matt." No, I'm Matthew. Sorry, I just would refuse.
It'd be like if there was an Ollie and an Oliver, and well, to be fair, if they went, "I'm Ollie, that's Oliver," I'd be like, "No, that's fine." I'd be like, "Don't use my full name," because everyone knows me as Ollie. If it was Oliver, I'd be like, But then also, I wouldn't want to go by my last name. Would not want to go by my last name. So I'd be like, do you know what? I'd rather be called Oliver than my last name. So that's fine. And see, Zanz does agree. It's a great short. Wentworth did have some thoughts to share. So make sure. Also, Rob going the true other Sophie. But obviously, we're not done because we do have a cute little segment coming up now.
Just a cute little segment. I miss this. I'm so happy to be back.
It's the favorite part. It's the tribe is posted. For those of you that maybe are joining us for the first time and you want to know what the tribe is posted is, it is where I go and scour social media after the episode is aired. Why? Because I'm a nosy bugger and want to know everything that's gone on. And I don't know, obviously, you've not seen all of the episodes, Matthew, but the cast have been delivering.
Oh, I know.
Like we've got Mill Spills. Savannah will constantly be updating. Like Sophie B does a great job. Like even Sophie S. Like Sophie S. has had some really funny moments on like her socials. Like MC, like so many of them. And also, just so you know,
thank you so much, Roy. That means a lot.
But the first one I have isn't technically a social media post. It's just a picture you sent me about 2 hours ago.
I knew it.
Literally, Matthew sent me this on Instagram, and I was like, "Well, this is going in."
That's the night that Kara and I met Sophie, and I remember specifically, Kara said to me right when Sophie walked away, "She might be here because she's the winner," and she did make it far. It could have happened.
I was going to say, yeah, considering like she did not get anything pre-merge, like content-wise, like she did make it really far. So like kudos to her for it. I will say I was really worried she was going to get the Chelsea Townsend edit. And I'm happy she didn't, because in my opinion, no one deserves that kind of edit. Like I still think what happened to Chelsea is wrong, and I would die on that hill.
Yeah, that was Ghost Island.
Yeah.
See, we can't even do that with these Survivor 41s through 49s. It would be hard to do. Anyway, yes.
Yeah. And yes, she was wearing her press outfit. I did like that. But moving on properly to the tribe is posted. Technically, this is a castaway, but it's Stephen because he was just at Over the Edge this weekend. For those of you that don't know, I'm going to plug it again. Over the Edge is an event that happens down in Florida, where a load of your favorite reality contestants, from Survivor to Big Brother to The Challenge, to Destination X, the Squid Games, the challenge, even WrestleMania. I think a
List
few
more.
wrestlers.
List
Yeah.
more.
The Traitors, something else. But yeah, they all go down there. It's all for charity. A lovely gentleman called Omar runs it. Funny enough, that's where I get he does loads of auctions. That's where I get all my signed pictures from. But yes, Stephen actually was there this weekend. And so I was like, you know what, let's see who we got to meet. And he got to meet some amazing people. And funny enough, he got to meet the person who inspired him to play, which was Rupert in the middle. So that was really sweet. But moving on to kind of the episode content. So we've got some pre-episode things. This is what posted pre-episode. Funny one from Alex on his Insta story when the bar would close for the night at Ponderosa, and it's just their reactions. And then Sophie put her challenge stats on Instagram just before the episode aired, which I actually thought were quite good stats. And to be fair, you look at it and you go, well, there's a reason she was called a cunt beast. Okay, now when it comes to this wrestling, there was a lot this episode. Like, they did a great job. So I kind of just did it via person. So first up, it is Stephen. So you've got, and funny enough, I think he was at some sort of wedding or some event that night because he was like suited and booted. And it was halfway through, they were celebrating him winning immunity. And then he posted quickly about obviously that moment, which is 18:43:25. And then again, so he did a reel. I would go everyone out in to go check it because it was obviously discussing that episode and why he did the things he did. Again, just proves why it was his episode. And then here, someone said, is Stephen dumb? Why the hell would he pick Rizzo? And he explains it. Inviting Rizzo kept him from strategizing with his allies while I was away. Which I think, again,
he had to take one of those three in that group.
Yeah.
He had to. And I think Rizzo was the best choice.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we had seen that him and Rizzo had spoken all episode. So like he says there, also, I wanted to build a bridge with Rizzo to maybe work together in future votes. Which I think was really good because we saw that happen. So it was, at least then, Stephen can kind of be like, you gave me something, I gave you something, so let's try. Like, it helped him in the end. Next up, we have Savannah. So the first one is a tweet going escaping yet another for the 5th consecutive week. And it was just... and then, yes, this is a reel. She also posted it on TikTok, revealing that it was all staged. So it was all staged.
Why?
she was just, I think so... She talks about it, and also Christine talks about it. Part of it was to kind of throw Sophie S off of any scent, thinking like, oh, okay, well, because again, Christina really didn't like Savannah at that point, and I think both of them knew that, and they were like, I think it was mainly to get Sophie to not play a shot in the dark, I believe. I can't remember if that was said in this reel or somewhere else, but I think that was part of the reason why it was staged, because obviously they didn't want to risk a shot in the dark play. So if Christina's still hamming it up like, I really strongly dislike this person, and making it obvious that like it's likely going to be voting for her, I think that's where it came in.
Got it. But can we quickly just pivot to Zan's comment? I went through each episode at 18:43:25, and every time it was someone saying, Soph, really? Why? How did you think to do that?
I love that. I love that. I'm not going to double check this, but I would love every single screenshot. And then you can send it to me and I can put it in the end of season. Tribe is posted.
Zans, that is wild.
Yeah. Zan saying, I think I unlocked the secret code.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, it's... can you imagine? I mean, I know it's Soph, but let's just say, like, every time a Soph went home, on an episode where 18, 23, 45 was significant, or 45, 20, whatever. And every episode, her name's come up at that exact moment. That's so interesting.
That is funny. Oh, yeah, that is funny. Gemini saying, I think Zan's is Sophie's analyst.
Possibly.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Soph, we've got Sophie B. First one is a reel where Sophie B talks about the Soph versus Sophie debate.
Yeah.
So again, it's another reason you can say why it all started. She very much states that they wanted to go with Sophie B or Sophie S, or even by surnames. And actually, Sophie S mentions that as well in some of her post-exit interviews. She did mention that.
Okay.
The next one's a TikTok of her being the last Sophie and the last Kelly standing, and then a cute little Instagram story going, me if I win Survivor and people start asking me for money. Is that foreshadowing?
Possibly.
And then this one, it's tying into two. Next slide will make sense. It's Rizzo and Christina. Rizzo had a cute, once again, on his Instagram, did a cute little kind of caption that's just all basically verses and singing. And then he goes, I went from eating up the game to finally eating some food. Because bless him, to be fair, he did not eat for a very long time.
Bad. Yeah.
And then also Christina put, and I think this is a reel, when the ancestors say not today, #final six. Because both of them are on the next slide. Oh no, it's just Christina, sorry, with a tweet going, I legit had not eaten in 6 days. I was over coconuts and water, had our stuff floating in it. When Stephen won, I knew it was my time for reward. So I just found that to be so.
Speaking of, I just placed an order for delivery because I'm getting hungry. So they can't do that on the
I literally had dinner before the podcast, so nice. And then a couple of tweets. Sophie, you can now call me Sophie. And Rizzo, regarding my fake idol play, I'll explain the method to my man this postseason, because he did briefly kind of talk about it in the episode, but not fully.
Well, I thought he gave enough information. It makes sense. I think he was so set on doing it. And then when Christina played the idol first, he was like, okay, but I still want to do it.
You just wanted to gloat. And then these are a couple of pictures in regards to Sophie S. I will say Sophie S hasn't posted anything yet in regards to like a thank you message or anything. She has posted her exit interviews. So I would say go watch those. I have actually watched quite a lot of them, and it was quite insightful. But yeah, you've got Sophie B and Savannah kind of showing her some love. With Savannah's caption going, I hear there's only room for one hot 31-year-old challenge beast on the beach. So I thought that was quite cute. One final tweet before we get to the polls, just because I found this and I thought it was interesting. Rizzo's quote was used as the title of the episode 11. He's joined a group of only 8 players who have named +5 episodes in a single Survivor season. Only reason I'm putting this in is because they're all men. Well, I can't wait for next season when it's a woman. Remember that, editors. Your sexism is slightly showing.
That's a significant number.
That is a significant number of 8 men. Okay, now we're going to go to the poll before I get cancelled.
Speaking of, you love Rizzo.
I do. Roy Jolly. To be fair, yes, because I wouldn't say I'm sexist. I'd just say I'm a very strong feminist. But we're going to go to the polls. For those that don't know, I post polls on X at Survivor Now Pod, where you can vote, have your say. So the first one was, should people have volunteered to go on the journey if they didn't want Stephen to go?
Yes.
No, it was... So, okay, we know Matthew's answer. No, it was strenuous. Yes, have the power. Maybe, depends how I felt. No interest in journeys. So you're going with yes?
Yes, but I do think that this question is very leading because you added the part at the end that says didn't want Stephen to go. I think obviously it's yes.
Yeah. And yeah, it was 73% said yes, have the power. But I mean, I just wanted to know because obviously they were all very much like, we're chilled. We didn't want to go. It's too strenuous. But obviously, the next poll is: would you tell people what your advantage is after a journey? Yeah, sure. Who cares? Nah, make them paranoid. It depends on my position. What you going with?
Depends.
Becky?
I mean, I don't know. I think Steven did what Steven did was a little unexpected to me. You know, I thought he was just gonna do that thing where he said, "Oh, I did it. I lost my vote." I don't know. Like I thought, yeah, I think Roy, I absolutely agree. I do think that he played it quite well. So you know, I don't know. It just depends on the situation.
Okay, so you are going with depends on my position.
Yeah, it depends on my position.
Well, 69% was like, nah, making paranoid, which fair enough. I mean, it's Twitter. They're a bit of chaos gremlins over there, so that kind of makes sense. The 8% of, yeah, sure, who cares? And then the final poll, how would you pick who joins you on reward at this late stage of the game? Who hasn't had food? Who has my trust? Who I want to work with? Or random who cares?
I feel I guess the closest thing to what I'm thinking would be who I want to work with, but my whole thing is who I want to build trust with. That's it. And maybe they don't have my trust yet, but that's with that.
Yeah, I think to be fair, again, with these, I only have 25 letters or something to like put in there, so I had to kind of go. Sadly, I couldn't go who I want to build trust.
I don't want to hear any excuses, Ollie. Okay.
Well, shut up. Roy Jolly, cutest men go with me. Brave. But it was actually a tie. 40% said who hasn't had food. 40% said who I want to work with. So you were at least in the majority. But yeah, it was those were the tie things. But those were the polls. Just remember, subscribe to Survivor Now Pod on X, because I will post these on Thursday after the episode, so you can vote on them and then you can come back here and see what the results were. Because no peeking on X, why would you do that? But that was The Tribe Has Posted. Did you enjoy that?
I loved it. Like I said, I missed this so much, and Ollie, you did such a fantastic job hosting. You don't even need me.
No, we do. We very much do. Look, me and Phil have had a lovely time this season, but we have missed you very much. I know that Phil is going to be gutted that you were joined this week and he's not here, unfortunately. But who knows? You know you're more than welcome next week and the finale anyway. So if you want to pop in again, you are more than welcome.
Oh, thank you. I'm sure you'll see at least one more time for this season.
There you go. And I posted this. So yeah. No shade. Yes. Yes, we do. There is one question though, and it is, who do you think has got the best chance of winning so far?
Oh, I don't even know if I'm at a place to answer this. I feel like because 50 is so close, and because there have been, I don't know the winner of this season, and I don't want to know the winner of the season, but I just feel like based on who I already do know is playing in 50, I feel like I can make some assumptions, and I just think that it is too cloudy to get into. I can say the people who I've really enjoyed seeing the game the most of this season has been MC when she was still in the game, and then also Sophie B. You know, I've enjoyed seeing Sophie B's game. I think for a while there at the beginning, the storyline was very similar to Denise back in
Philippines.
No. Thank you. See, okay, back in Philippines, you know, and clearly she's doing very well there. I think that Savannah and Rizzo are very fun characters on television, and I do think that they played well, despite your argument earlier towards Rizzo. And that being said, we'll see. I think this season, for the first time in a while, has really felt like there have been main characters.
Yes. Yeah, very much so. And we've definitely, again, I feel 46 was the last time we really had some like proper character driven kind of stories and arcs, and kind of we had main characters and maybe we had some behind the scenes characters. But yeah, I agree. We've had some really strong kind of like characters and main characters this season. Steven says he's put Steven as his winner pick currently, but we have to wait and see what happens.
Roy, yeah.
Roy. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and
but
I like Steven too. I think this was a great episode for him.
it was. I mean, we've got 2 episodes left anyway, so anything can happen in these 2 episodes. But obviously, that is it for this week. Matthew, thank you for joining me. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you for asking me to be here. I'm glad I can make it.
I mean, I think we've always been there. When do you want to come back? When do you want to come back? But thank you to everyone else that has joined us. We really do appreciate the views. Just as I've said, if you're a new viewer, please like and subscribe to our channel because we've got so much more content coming your way. Tomorrow, we have got Survivor Social. Obviously, Cara has been away at Over the Edge this weekend, so that is why it's Monday. And she is joined by a very special guest, someone of the Amazing Race fame, and maybe another show. But keep an eye on Instagram for all of that. And then obviously remember, we have our pre-show, our after show, Stock Watch, Survivor Social, and Got Something For Ya. But that is it for this episode. We are going to see you next week, and have a lovely rest of your evening.
Thanks
Bye.
all.